I'm seeing red. The hunger for war is in my blood. Hunger is war with my lungs. You can see it in my eyes. I am the phoenix about to rise. I'm seeing red. Do or die, alive or dead. Hear the voice inside my head telling me this is not the end. I'm seeing red. Do or die, alive or dead. Hear the voice inside my head telling me this is not the end. I'm seeing. I'm seeing. One-man army under the gun. Locked and loaded. Here I come. Maybe on your back. Always at the ready to attack. I'm seeing red. Do or die, alive or dead. Hear the voice inside my head telling me this is not the end. I'm seeing red. Do or die, alive or dead. Hear the voice inside my head telling me this is not the end. I'm seeing. I'm seeing. I'm seeing I'm seeing red. Do or die, alive or dead. Hear the voice inside my head telling me this is not the end. I'm seeing red. Do or die, alive or dead. Hear the voice inside my head telling me this is not the end. I'm seeing. I'm seeing. I'm seeing red. I'm seeing red.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Second Amendment Ranch. Yes, Crystal, I think a lot of us forgot that we changed times. I definitely did. So I owe my mom an apology because they are celebrating her birthday today, which isn't until Tuesday. And I had actually spent money. I spent about $70 on a flower bouquet to be sent to her house. And then my dad tells me that she's going to be in California. So I had to cancel that order real quick. So, Mom, if you're listening right now, happy birthday. And
Yeah, happy birthday, Mom.
I'll call you again on Tuesday to wish you an actual happy birthday. But to start us off, I have a gun fail article. It's really rare we get a hold of these that I actually want to go over.
And welcome everybody to our new time slot.
Yes, we appreciate everybody for being
Share it out. We got 12 people watching, which is great for this time of day.
Right. I think everybody's just looking for something to do while they eat their lunch.
Right. Hey, It works.
If you want to spend your lunch break with us, then by all means. But so we all know traveling with guns is a pain in the butt, right? You got to lock them up, separate ammos. You have to have certain locks, certain cases that have to be secured. It's a nightmare traveling with a firearm on a plane. Apparently, somebody didn't read up what they're supposed to and what they can't do when they were deciding to travel with a firearm. And it would be one thing if he just screwed up in the States. But no. A Glendale dad sent to Mexican prison for accidentally bringing a gun on his vacation. Y'all saw Carl's face over there?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Oh, Glendale, Arizona. A father is behind bars in Mexico for mistakenly leaving his gun in the car while driving down there for a weekend getaway. This was actually supposed to be our first annual Beavers family vacation, said Francine Nicholson. Nicholson, her husband, Ira Beavers, and their kids were road tripping to Rocky Point, Mexico on July 30th to enjoy the beach. So it was my family and my in-laws, Nicholson said. Everyone crossed, everyone made it to the resort except for us. Instead of a hotel room, Beavers is landed behind bars in Mexican federal prison. At the Lukeville border where we were stopped, our car was inspected just like everybody else. And under the seat, Border Patrol found his gun. Nicholson said he simply forgot to remove it before driving down. It absolutely is legal here in Arizona. It was a 9mm Glock, Nicholson said. Legal here, but illegal there, as Mexico has stricter laws on firearms. Yeah, cartel.
Yeah.
Terrifying, absolutely terrifying, she said, of the arrest. We were both handcuffed in front of our children. My husband has never been arrested, and neither one of us has. And she was released 48 hours later, but her husband was still there. With 3 months already under his belt, last Friday, Beavers was sentenced to nearly 3 years in federal prison for what Nicholson called an accident. 2 years, 9 months, and 17 days to be exact. With a new lawyer, she is currently in the appeals process and hopes to have him home by Thanksgiving. In the meantime, she has a warning for others. There's so many of us that go down to Rocky Point every weekend. We spend so much time and money there. It's a beautiful place, but we have to be hyper vigilant about everything that's in our vehicles at all times. She emphasized that this could happen to anyone, and the family has started a GoFundMe to help pay for the legal battles. Yeah, we're not going to do your little shout out there.
Right.
People think that GoFundMe's are a fix all, solve all, like give us a hand kinds of situation. And people, no, not everybody's gonna donate. I had a GoFundMe, I didn't get crap, but I can understand certain GoFundMes, cancer,
medical.
medical expenses, but legal fees, like I can't exactly agree with Kyle Rittenhouse getting a GoFundMe, but he did have My Pillow sponsor him, trying to get him out. Then you had that other kid that shot a couple people, and he had a GoFundMe and was out within hours of being arrested. So it's very broken. It's not.
Well, don't forget the girl that put the stuff on her hair. The Gorilla Glue.
Gorilla Glue is not a hair product.
No, but she got a lot of money off that GoFundMe page.
Yeah, enough to start her own business.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, I honestly don't think it's taxed because it's technically a gift.
Right. And GoFundMe gets a big percentage of it.
Right. So it's already being taxed a little bit, but it's technically a gift. So,
but anyway, the GoFundMe deal. Let's get back to the story at hand there about. Yeah, it's quite funny. He gets that much time for a 9mm under his seat. When you go down to the border anywhere in Mexico, everybody's got a gun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, it's do as we say, not as we do.
Right.
That's why we've talked about it before, Carl. If you remember, the cartel's shooting across and attacking our border, coming over and assassinating people. Whereas if we return fire, it would cause an international incident.
Right.
Because they obviously don't want Americans having firearms near them. But so help you God, if you try and go down there with just a pistol, looking to even just protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know there's problems going on in Mexico right now.
Oh yeah.
But they
Good
can come
morning,
across
Facebook user. We don't know who you are.
Yeah. But they can come across left and right and cause all the problems they want, and nothing happens. So and the funny part, Mexico has stricter border control laws than America does. They do. If you get caught over there, you're going to be arrested and spend a while in prison. Whereas if you go even further south, I want to say it's Brazil. If you get caught illegally trespassing what's the word I'm looking for? I guess it would be illegal.
Right through.
Yeah, if you get caught in their border without the correct papers, it's death.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, no. America has some of the most lax border control policies ever. Oh, we need to open the borders. America was founded on immigration. Yes, it was. I fully agree. America was founded by immigrants. But after America was established, we also instilled a process immediately. We documented all the Irish, Spanish.
And they came across a big pond.
Yeah, slavery.
Not right next to our border.
Everybody was documented that was coming into America at that point in time. It was all hand done with paper, which sucks. But the people came through on ships to the port of entry and were documented that they were coming in. And that is an understandable process. Now, with how many people the planet's honestly really populated. The planet's a little full right now.
Right.
But if you want to go and move, look at Ireland. My brother's friend was looking at moving to Ireland. They had to have a job set up. They had to have $10,000 in the bank account. They already had to have their passports as well as their citizenship before they could even step foot in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to move to another country, it should be a challenge. It should be a process. I can't agree with some of it taking years and years, but it's a vetting process, and we do it for the safety of the people. And if we just open up the doors and gates to everybody, it's predicted that every 250 years is long enough for a citizen or a civilization to crumble. Look at how old America is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been the prediction there alone. Plus 80 years is predicted to be enough time for the people to forget what's happened in the past and recreate those problems. And if you look through history like I keep telling you to, you'll see that history is not linear. It's cyclical. It will continue to repeat itself constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Because people fail to, it's not exactly the same. Technology advances, civilizations progress, people become more numb, I guess is the word I want to use, but we start to forget what's happened and then we start reliving through everything. And look what happened 80 years ago. You know, we're looking at another Great Depression. We're looking at another war. We're looking at quite a few things coming up because there are people that have failed to learn from history.
Right.
So and those who have learned from history are doomed to suffer repeating it for the failures of the others failing to learn from history. There's nothing we can do. They just want to make it happen. So it's going to happen. That's why I tell you, read a history book. And if it doesn't piss you off, you're reading the wrong book. And a lot of the history books I saw a very interesting video, and I wish I would have saved it. A gentleman talking about history and how right-wing people are crazy and thinking that they're going to come and take our guns like this. And, well, we start listing Project Mockingbird, Waco, You look at military testing with LSD. There are plenty of incidences that have happened through history that have not been recorded in history, at least the history that we can easily find in a book, because the government doesn't want you knowing about it. Hello, Bobby Bradenberg.
Michael Bird.
Hello, Michael. Facebook user, we still don't know who you are. Chris Mine, Krista Marie. Hello, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in. I know you're not used to seeing this that early, but
it's coming in pretty good.
Oh, yeah. I was talking about them, the time slot, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the reason we did the new time slot is before, when we did the show at the regular time, as soon as the show was over, Cameron had to get ready, and because he had to get up early the next morning to go to work. This way, we're changing it around to where he's got time to do stuff in the evenings there before he goes to bed to get ready for work next day. So,
and hello, Angel D Bird. We have a whole bird family.
We got a bird family going here. Awesome.
Yeah, so we wanted more time to
I'm more rested.
Relax in the afternoons instead of come in, do the show, and then all right, well, good night, have a good evening, and then go to bed and wake up and go to work. So we just want to, be able to get laundry done, bathe the dogs, play a couple video games, watch some TV, just kind of relax a little bit more before the end of the day. And I think a lot of y'all can understand that is, do you really want to do anything right before you go to bed?
Well, there's a few things I'd do right before I went to bed. But anyway, but this gives us more time and stuff, and you'll see different backgrounds as we go through this change. Well, that was cool. Hey, it changes colors. I'm up at the restaurant, in the office, watching. It's kind of slow today, so that's what's going on.
Yeah, so we appreciate y'all understanding. But yeah, I wanted to do stuff after the show, not just go to sleep. Our next article. So today, I'll give you a heads up. We have a lot coming from Missouri. I didn't get a chance to read this article before the show, but the article states why the Second Amendment may be losing relevance in gun debate. You can see why I wanted to read this article, can't you, Carl?
Yep, I do.
So you're telling me that the Second Amendment, the reason we have firearms in America, is no longer relevant in a gun control debate. Okay. And I'm like everybody else, I'm human-ish. But I kind of jump to conclusions when I read article titles, because the article title should honestly reflect the innards of the article. When they put these controversial topics or titles and you read it and you're like, oh, that's bull crap, and you just start jumping. No, you're looking for clout. You're spreading a false narrative because people aren't going to read it. So I wanted to see what the hell this group is talking about. And the bitter debate over gun control, battle lines are often drawn around the Second Amendment, with many in favor of gun rights pointing to it as the source of their constitutional authority to bear arms. Again, the Constitution gives you God-given rights. It is not a constitutional right. It is God-given to protect yourself. So you stating that right there already nullifies your argument for this conversation. But let's continue on. And some in favor of tighter gun control disagreeing with that interpretation. But if the purpose of the debate is to reduce the tragic human toll of gun violence, and again, we've covered that, the numbers provided by anybody are often fluffed up with suicides and accidents. Yes, I agree, it's a toll on human life, but some of them are self-inflicted. Some of them are what we show at the top of the hour, where somebody's just being an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
So that also nullifies your argument. There are always going to be stupid people. Why do you think we have warning labels on everything? I think we need to remove all the warning labels and let natural selection start taking over again. But
There
that's
you
just
go.
me.
Common sense.
Exactly. Common sense is so rare now, it's a superpower.
Right.
Let's see. They said the battle lines that actually matter have been drawn around state legislature, which are setting the country's landscapes on guns through state laws or sometimes the lack thereof. Joseph Blocher, a professor of law and co-director of the Center for Firearms Law at Duke Law School, described the patchwork of state laws that exists across the country as a buffer zone for the Second Amendment. Before you even get to the Constitution, there's a huge array of other laws super protecting the right to keep and bear arms, Blocher said. This collection of laws is giving individuals lots of protection for the gun-related activity that the Second Amendment would not necessarily require, and certainly and in almost all of these instances, that no lower court has said the Second Amendment would require. Again, any law you try and pass that limits the use of firearms is an infringement on the United States Constitution. Again, your conversation is now nullified for what, a fourth time?
Right.
Somebody keep track of this for me. We're going to keep bashing this article. So we'll say 4 so far. Adam Winkler, professor of law at the UCLA School of Law, also said that the Second Amendment is losing its legal relevance in distinguishing lawful policies from unlawful ones, as the gap between what he calls the judicial Second Amendment and the aspirational Second Amendment widens. Winkler defines the judicial Second Amendment as how courts interpret the Constitution provision in their decisions, and the aspirational Second Amendment as how the amendment is used in political dialogue. The latter is far more hostile to gun laws than the judicial one, he said, and also more prevalent. The aspirational Second Amendment is overtaking the judicial Second Amendment in American law, he wrote in the Indian Law Journal in 2018, a sentiment he repeated in a recent interview with ABC News. State laws embracing such a robust anti-regulatory view of the right to keep and bear arms that the judicial Second Amendment, at least as currently construed, seems less likely to have less and less to say about the shape of American gun laws. Again, any gun law that goes against the United States Constitution is an infringement, shall not be infringed.
Right.
It's not, oh, you can infringe a little bit. It's not, well, you can do this. No. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Ta-da! Discussion's
The word
over.
shall not. The 2 words.
Yep. Winkler told ABC News the aspirational political Second Amendment has become the basis for expanding gun rights in the last 40 years. Well, seeing as the last 40 years you have done everything in your power to restrict gun rights, yeah, we're going to try and push you back the hell out. What Constitution rights are you talking about? You have no rights in the Constitution, dumbass. The only place your rights are written out is the Bill of Rights, which was ratified by each state. Well, aren't you a polite bastard? Moving on.
We have no rights in the Constitution. Where's he get off? We have all the rights.
You do realize the United States Constitution also gives you the right to overthrow a tyrannical government? Yes, that's actually, I understand what you're saying. The Bill of Rights is actually what we're discussing. However, the United States Constitution does have rights and liberties in it, one of which is the right to overthrow a tyrannical government. So you saying that the Constitution gives you no rights and liberties, you obviously have not read your Constitution at all.
Right.
So thank you. Move along. Oh, where were we?
I had to find something to get you riled up.
The Second Amendment of the United States Constitution reads, in full, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The role of the Second Amendment, like many constitutional rights, is to put limits on what regulations the federal government can pass, and scholars and lawyers have debated its scope since it was ratified in 1791. Before the U.S. Supreme Court landmark District of Columbia versus Heller decision in 2008, which we have discussed here. Much of the debate revolved around the meaning of a well-regulated militia. The Heller decision struck down a handgun ban in Washington and established the right for individuals to have a gun for certain private purposes, including self-defense in the home. The court expanded private gun ownership protection 2 years later in the McDonald v. City of Chicago, determining that state and local governments are also bound by the Second Amendment. Funny how that works.
Hey,
It's like
Jules.
anybody that's in the United States of America is under the Constitution. Yeah, thanks. Hi, Jules. The Bill of Rights, by its terms, only applies to federal government, but the Supreme Court, through a doctrine known as incorporation, has made almost all of its guarantees applicable against state and local governments as well. That's what the question was in McDonald, Blocher said, but some states have chosen to go above and beyond what the court has laid out. Notably, the court in Heller carved out limitations on the individual right and preserved a relatively broad range of possible gun regulations, such as allowing for the restriction in government buildings, schools, polling places, but in many instances, state legislatures have decided not to use the authority that the court has granted them. Most states have chosen not to use their full regulatory authority, Blocher said. If a state decides not to forbid people from having large capacity magazines, for instance, that doesn't necessarily result in a law. It can be the absence of a law that has the most impact. It goes back to the widening gap between the judicial Second Amendment as the court interprets it and the aspirational Second Amendment as used in politics, according to Winkler and Blocher. There's a difference between the Second Amendment as interpreted and applied by courts and the Second Amendment as it invoked in political discussion. And for many gun right advocates, the political version of the Second Amendment is quite a bit more gun protective than the Second Amendment as the Supreme Court and lower courts have applied it.
Goodbye, whoever you are. You want to read that before I get rid of it?
So it shows religious trying to push the theocracy of this country was not found. Me on religious scripture. Stop trying to push things. So is this. It's the Constitution. You don't even know what right is. The Constitution is a piece of trash made to suck. You, sir, I have to watch my language. You're lucky. You, sir, are a moron. The Constitution gives you God-given rights. The Bible also tells you to use. Okay. The United States Constitution was created to give you God-given rights, unalienable. And in the Bible, it also says if you do not have a cloak or a sword, you should sell your cloak to buy one. The Constitution was founded through religion. And saying that I'm a religious nut is a false narrative by any means, because I have never once said that I am Christian or Catholic or Jewish. I don't talk about my faith or religion because I have a very weird view on religion. Now, I was raised Christian, so I have quite a in-depth knowledge on what the Bible does and does not say. Gives me a little benefit there, because in the oath that, or the Pledge of Allegiance, it says under God. So yes, this country was founded under a religion. The Constitution was written under a religion. Religion has caused wars, genocides, mass starvations, plagues, you name it. There has been it because of some religion out there. You are an uninformed bastard, and you need to get the hell off of my network. Saying this crap, obviously you are not from America. And if you are, I hope to God you're one of these jackasses that gets the hell out of my country, because you are not a patriot. You are a jackass, and you need to leave. I hate having to watch my language, but you are an idiot.
You did great. And as Jules said, count to 10, Cameron. I knew it was going to be that whenever I seen that. The first comment got to me. That second one blew me up. I was like, There he's back.
The Constitution is a living document provided to the people to protect them against tyrannical government. Everything in the Bill of Rights in the United States Constitution was put in there to protect the people from a government, seeing as that we were coming under the rule of thumb of the British, which were under the rule of a king, and we were not happy with how it ran that way. So we wanted to give the people a voice and allow them to have rights and liberties that could not be discriminated against and taken away from them, because they saw how the government was handling everything over there, where if they didn't like what you said, they just killed you. And then in a lot of cases, look at North Korea. Still the same crap. It's just a dictatorship now instead of a monarchy. So,
Okay.
there you go. The more you know. Oh, God.
Okay.
I hate people like that. I hate people like that. By all means, if you want to have a discussion, people, we always open the chat. We always open the show. We will let people come on to have a discussion. But if you want to say something stupid like that and start off strong by saying names and calling people idiots, you need to get the hell out. And I promise you, your clout is just getting me more viewers. People love to watch me go off on a tangent because of assholes like you.
Ruth Albee said that guy there was on Vincent's show. I remember that when he got Vincent riled up too. But we don't have to worry about him no more. You see that, don't you?
He was blocked.
Yep. Now, he may appear on some other channel here, but we will know by the way he describes his words.
Yeah.
Did you count to 10?
No, I really want to start cussing at him a lot. I may not have the best
no more.
I may not have the best education out there, but I am still more informed than most people, and I can have a argument with anybody. I may not use the biggest, fanciest words out there, but I can make my point known. And people like to bash me for that. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're using simple words. You're right. I have a simple Texas education. I did not do good in school. I slept through most of high school because I was working in high school. I was working 40 hours a week as a part-time employee, and then I was going to school for 8 to 9 hours a day. So I was working 80-plus hour weeks. So when I was falling asleep in class, my teacher just said, go ahead. They understood it. So no, I don't have the best education out there. I didn't do great in school. That's why I went to the military. But my discussions are meant to be simple and easily followed. I start dropping big-ass words in there like plethora. People are like, that's not what he talks about. Right. And confused, like, he's using a big word today. So no, I don't have to use big words. But I really want to give you a certain finger.
Christine, it's a little slow up here. If it don't pick up very much more by the time the show's over, we're probably going to shut the restaurant down today. Get ready for trick-or-treaters.
Yeah. I got to make sure all the lights are off. God, that's going to drive the dogs nuts tonight. Oh, God. I should have picked up candy. I should have picked up some candy. I didn't think about it. I've been tired as hell. I've had a headache all week. My neck's been tense. I just not even thinking about it. Poor kids. I ought to go just pick up some ramen, say chicken or beef.
No, you're making the dentists happy.
I haven't been to a dentist since 2015.
Ooh.
I haven't had any problems, no pain.
You're good.
No, I did go. I've gone once in that time frame because I was aggressively brushing too hard that I had pushed my gums down and was exposing the root.
Ooh.
So it was sensitive. So I had to pick up Sensodyne. But when I went, I guess it was like 2-3 years ago now. When I went, no cavities, no problems, nothing like that. He was really surprised when I told him how long it had been since I'd been to a dentist. Said I was a weird case because normally when people don't go that often, they're having more problems. But
Right.
I have very good teeth. My brother, on the other hand, does not because he liked to chew on Legos.
Oh,
Yeah. He chewed
God,
on
that
Legos.
sounds painful.
Oh, it was. He has 3 fake teeth.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would chew on the like rubber tire, but I never chewed on the hard plastic Lego pieces.
Oh, you weren't out chewing on your dad's car tires, were you?
No.
Okay.
The little Lego tire.
Anyway, back to what Second Amendment is about there.
Well, I was talking about the First Amendment for a while with our friend.
I know. We'll get back to the Second
A
Amendment.
very
over there.
limited First Amendment, mind you. Gotta watch the language.
You're doing good.
You know, I know we're trying to push for monetizing and sponsors, and I can't wait for one of them to see this video and be like, we'll do it just to watch him struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, there's going to be some sponsor out there that's like, oh, now he can't screw up. Shit.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to give me a button.
Yeah.
But we're continuing on. So I told you Missouri was a hot topic tonight, and I have 3 articles from Missouri. The first one talks about looser gun laws mean more death in Missouri, but experts say more research is needed. Well, no shit, Sherlock. We talk about it all the time. The information that you provide is so fluffed up with suicides, accidents, misfires, all the problems that come with not handling safely. And you include gun deaths where somebody was defending themselves. You throw that in there and you don't give us how many times somebody had protected themselves, a friend, a family member, somebody else in public. You don't give us that. You just said somebody was shot, somebody was killed, and nothing else. That's your numbers that you run off. So with looser gun laws, yeah, you're going to see a little bit of an increase in certain criminal activity, but you're going to see a drop in a lot of, later on when people start to realize, man, I really should be carrying a gun right now. Duh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's get into this article. Gun homicides and suicides increase when laws are loosened. Studies on Missouri's firearms laws have shown, but research on the full impact of deregulation has been stifled by the gun lobby, according to experts. And we'll go, before I continue on, suicide. Men commit suicide 3 to 4 times more often than women, whereas women will attempt suicide more than men. The reason being is we're taking the quick and easy method out, whereas women want a painless, kind of a fall asleep, so they try and overdose on some type of drug, something like that, whereas men will just shoot themselves. You're not going to stop suicides.
No.
Ever. Now, reducing the gun suicides is as easy as just getting them the help they need. Instead of, men are so bashed and berated in society, we are conditionally loved. Men are only loved as long as they can provide something, whether it be a home, money, food, safety, security. Men are the only thing on this planet that are not loved unconditionally. Women, loved unconditionally. Children, dogs, cats, everything else is loved unconditionally, whereas men have to provide something for them to be of value, essentially. So you are not, in reality, loved. You are appreciated for what you can provide. And when it comes to being able to vent and open up and talk to somebody, we are so weakened. We are viewed as a soft individual. We are viewed as a lesser man because we decided to come to attention. We decided that we wanted to open up and talk about our feelings and our emotions. We've been raised on the thought that suck it up, don't cry, man up, tough it up, grow a set, have a pair. Where's your spine? We've been told that for decades at this point in time. And if we go even further back, we've been getting told this crap for centuries. You have to be tough as a man. You don't get the option to be weak. So when somebody does decide that they're going to try and open up, a lot of people view them differently. And they say, just handle it. I've tried to open up to a couple people, and I'm not going to state who or names or anything, but they said, and you know who you are if you're watching right now, are you going to let this define you? Is this just who you are now? It's like, it's going to affect, depression is nothing beyond a mental disorder. It's not like, oh, I'm just sad. It's an absolute imbalance in your brain that is making you have problems beyond what would be normal. So when somebody says, oh, I'm depressed, there's a difference between depression and sadness. You can be sad. Death in the family, dog died, goldfish drowned, something like that. That's being sad. But depression is a chemical disorder. And it's not something that's just, oh, I can tough it up and get rid of it. No, it's you. There's you can cope with it. You can live with it, but it's always going to be there. It's not going away. It's just like PTSD. There are treatments. Unfortunately, in the state of Texas, it's still illegal for the one that I would rather utilize, because a lot of people, when they get into the depression, PTSD, social anxiety, hell, and anxiety in general, they don't want to be drugged all the time. You know, my pecker doesn't work anymore. I'm not eating right, can't lose weight. And then look at the side effects. A lot of them, thoughts of death, suicidal tendencies, anal leakage. They give you such a wide, you need to be able to, without being judged, no matter what your gender is. Oh, I agree, Bobby. I fully agree. But we're not at that point in time yet. So when people do see these medications and pills and everything like that, they get put off from them because it changes who they are as a person. So when it comes to, studies have shown that psilocybin or magic mushrooms, microdosing with that will help create that or fix that chemical imbalance of depression in your brain. But the government doesn't want you taking those. Look at marijuana, shown to help reduce pain, anxiety, helps you sleep. Huge amount of benefits, but there are still many states like Texas that don't want to legalize it yet. So when it comes to medicating, either you're a criminal or you get your whole personality changed.
Right.
So I know a lot of people that decide I'm going to be a criminal. And then there's other people that I'm just going to suck it. I'm going to keep doing what I've been told for years. I'm just going to suck it up and tough it out. Well, good job, Colorado. Lucky bastards. But no, you will never get rid of suicide. Guns are just a means to make it quicker. Yeah, it's an ugly death, but there's nothing you can do about it except for try and help treat. You're trying to Band-Aid the aftermath. You're not trying to be preemptive. You're not trying to get ahead of it. You're dealing with it as it comes instead of beforehand. So if you want to deal with that, so you have to get ahead of it. Offer up, look at how many women's shelters are out there. Look at how much benefits that women can have for being able to vent, discuss. Hell, I mean, you can go to anybody and talk and cry on their shoulder. A guy does that. We look at, if I go up to a girl and say, hey, look, I just need to talk for a little bit. Yeah, it's not a good idea. Where a girl goes up to a guy, hey, can I talk to you for a little bit? Okay, sure. What's up? We listen. So you have to start looking at it beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody puts, yes, I suffer from depression on their background check, well, I don't say not give them a gun. We'll probably see if they've got help. Make sure they have some support group, some therapy, something. But trying to, it's killing too many people, let's take the guns away. So you're going to punish the mass amounts of the population for the actions of it's just like a criminal. They're still going to get a hold of guns. Somebody suicidal is still going to commit suicide. You can take away the firearm. Doesn't mean they're going to stop. There are more ways to kill yourself than there are C's. Deal with it beforehand. don't punish everybody else. And again, that's against the Geneva Convention. So in the early 1990s, a push to understand the causes and impacts of gun violence created a movement towards studying gun violence as a form of public health, but that effort died quickly. Men don't get raped or domestically abused or bullied. They are the ones who do those things. Chris, I will I'm going to assume that's sarcasm. I'm going to go ahead and hope that's sarcasm. Oh, no, you're saying it as society. No, you're right. I apologize. I skipped over your first thing. No, you're right. That society says men don't get raped or domestically abused or bullied or anything like that. No, we do. And in fact, men get raped. Studies have been said to show that men get raped more often than women do because they will not go to anybody. They're too ashamed of what happened. They're too afraid. They bottle it up. They lock it behind. Hell, we covered an article on an old show that I did where a couple of thieves, now don't get me wrong, they somewhat deserve what happened, but they broke into the wrong man's house. This dude was 300 pounds and 6'4", 6'5", big old hairy gay guy. He then kidnapped his intruders and did exactly what we were just discussing to them for several days. There are people out there that will rape men. Hell, there was a martial artist woman, I think she did Taekwondo, where she caught a home intruder, bound and tied him, and fed him nothing but Viagra for a week. So it happens. Now, again, these three people were criminals, but it happens. So society says men are the monsters and straight white males and toxic masculinity are the problem. No, it's not toxic masculinity. It's the lack of masculinity.
Right.
Children are raised around 80% of women, school teachers, cafeteria ladies, bus drivers. The majority of the people that children interact with at schools, it's 75 or 80%. You'd have to Google it, are women. Fathers at work all the time. He's trying to put bread and bacon on the table. So no, it's not toxic masculinity. We have a problem of the lack of masculinity, showing children, especially little boys, how to be a real man, and showing daughters what a real man looks like, who they should be going for in dating, not this toxic bastard that's going to cheat and abuse you. Go on. I'll keep it running.
Okay, keep it going.
So when a federally funded study found that having a firearm at home increased the likelihood of a firearm homicide by a family member or an intimate partner in 1993, that is true. It's like 7 times more likely that you'll die by somebody you know. Yes, Ruth, they were all men and guns, but I don't blame the guns. Exactly. Yeah. Where was I? It drew quick backlash from the National Rifle Association, and the NRA accused the Center for Disease Control and Prevention for being biased against guns and began lobbying against the federal agency efforts on gun violence research. The results of the NRA lobbying was the adoption of the 1996 Dickey Amendment, championed by Arkansas Representative Jay Dickey, which barred any studies that could promote gun control that made the CDC hesitant to fund any gun-related studies. The amendment adopted into appropriations bill annually imposed a nearly full federal moratorium on gun violence research over the next 2 decades, according to experts. The reality is, collectively, our understanding of the impact of gun laws on our lives is very limited, said Ali Rohan Rabar, an epidemiologist and professor based out of the University of Washington in Seattle. Missouri stands out for how many studies have been done looking at the effects of the state's gun laws, Rohan Rabar said. The studies have not at all shown the same exact outcomes, but they have illustrated that changes in laws like the repeal of the requirements to purchase a handgun have led to an increase in firearm homicides and suicides. Again, how many of those homicides were self-defense? That's what I want to know. And how many of those homicides could have been prevented by the use of a firearm? Because we showed those numbers too. All heard my phone vibrate. Why did I hear my phone vibrate? Okay. Sorry about that. The repeal of the permit to purchase led to an increase of 25%, as much as between 25 and 47% increase in firearm homicides, and a 23.5% increase in firearm suicides in Missouri. Another study on the repeal of the permit to purchase also found that laws associated with it a 16.1% increase in firearm suicide rates. A study on the repeal of permit to purchase impact on adolescent found that the law led to a 21.8% increase in firearm suicide rates in young adults aged 19 to 24 years in Missouri. The study also found that lowering age for concealed carry was associated with an increase of 32% in firearm suicides in those aged between 14 and 18, and 7.2% in young adults. And again, every bit of that can be dealt with. Gun safes save lives. Say it with me now. Gun safes save lives. When you're going through high school, you're going through puberty, your emotions, your chemical hormones, everything is going AWOL. It is FUBAR beyond all belief. Yes, I have to use acronyms at this point in time because I can't say it. So dealing with I still want to know, with that increase of the first percentages, how many of these homicides were self-defense or could have been stopped with a firearm? How many of these suicides were from a gun that they didn't actually buy? How many of these were from, oh, I got my parents' gun, I'm going to end it? How many are from, oh, my friend's got a gun? That's the numbers and statistics we need to find, and that's why I say gun safes will save lives. Even a simple gun lock is going to do better than just letting it sit out and about. Now, I have known, I'm not going to state names again. This is a personal experience I have. I do know somebody that had a problem. I'm going to try and keep this as vague as I can for not trying to name anything reasons. He came up to me and said, I need you to take these. And he handed me all his firearms. So, okay, I'm going to keep them locked up. Well, what if I need one? You're not going to need one. What do you mean? If anything happens, I'll be right here. Any intruder, any reason that you would need a gun, I'll be right here. You don't get a gun. And I held on to him for about a week. He was like, hey, can I get these back? All right, well, let's sit down first. Let's talk. How you feeling? What happened? Is there anything I can do? How are you sitting mentally, emotionally? So if you get into that situation where somebody hands you their firearms, by all means, question them. So there you go. But yeah, there's your predictions. They're saying Missouri is going to be more gun violence, or at least more suicides. You kind of missed out. We had some stories to talk about. Oh, it's almost the top of the hour.
Yeah. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Barbara. Should we do the gun fail?
Yeah, let's do the gun fail. It's early enough.
Before you have to run out again?
Hopefully I don't have to.
So with how this video is set up, I have to share my screen beforehand. So I'm going to roll down. Nobody read anything. You don't get to see the article. So to give you a heads up, the first bit is cool. The second bit is an idiot.
Corta. Arma corta. Arma corta. 1, 2. Ahora sí. Chinga tu madre. Ay, güey. Aquí está. Corta. Arma corta. Arma corta. 1, 2. Ahora sí. Chinga tu madre. Ay, güey. Aquí está.
All right. So let's talk about both of those real quick. Let's talk about the second. First off, here's a question. Did anybody see anything wrong? Hi, Dad.
Oh yeah.
Again, happy birthday to Mom. We said it earlier. Now that I see that you're in here, happy birthday. Let her know. I did call her. I'll call her again Tuesday. But did anybody see any problems with the first video? Carl, you don't get an answer. With the first, nope, not until we get at least somebody from the chat to answer, because every time I ask this, you always ruin it for me. So did anybody see a problem with the first act? The second act is very self-explanatory. Booger hook on the bang button while he was trying
They
to
said
hold his
that's
arm.
an oof.
That's a big oof. Looked like he shot himself in the butt, at least through his pants. He may have gotten very lucky, but you saw him. He was rubbing down there.
Yeah.
Didn't see any blood. Didn't
He,
drop.
he
So we don't,
grazed it pretty good.
yeah, we don't know. So that one's very, very easy to go into. But the first one, see why I said it was cool? But why was it a problem?
Come on, folks.
Somebody give me an answer.
If not, if we don't get an answer, we're going to do some more training on here. You know that?
Oh, I agree. If nobody can give me a reason why that first one was a problem, we got some more discussions to have.
Yeah, we'll have to do
Actually,
trainings.
Dad, since you were here, what was the problem with that first video?
Right.
You can answer. Come on, somebody's got to have the answer.
We got an hour to wait.
Yeah, we got all the time in the world.
Right. Actually, we got longer than an hour if need be.
Exactly.
So,
Somebody give me the answer. Somebody give me an answer. All right, let me see if I can pull it back up real quick.
Okay.
Barbara. All right. One more time. I've been nice. What is the problem with that video? What's the problem with the first half of that video? Before we see the cop going and charging and everything, what was the problem I have with the first video?
come on, folks.
Somebody's got to give me the answer. I will sit here and wait.
Uh-huh.
Why was something wrong there?
He will pick up a new habit playing tiddlywinks if you don't give him an answer.
Yeah, I got my phone right here. I'll sit there.
Here's an answer for you.
All right. He had no control over the gun, it seemed. No, he did have very good control. You kept hearing the planking. He was hitting his targets. Carl?
I'm holding it back. I'm waiting for somebody. I've seen a couple of things, but
I'm talking about the biggest one. That's the one that I really locked in on. But we'll discuss it after somebody gives me an answer. We'll give him a minute. We'll give him 1 minute.
we'll give him till the top of the hour, which is a minute and a half.
Yeah. So if you need to see it again, I'll pull it back up.
Come on, there's 9 people watching. They had to see it.
Dad, I know you're here. What was wrong with that first video?
Where the gun was placed in his pants, Barbara says.
No.
Not quite.
Come on. Somebody. Oh, we've got some training to do here.
Can I give him a little hint?
Fine, give him a hint.
I don't want to give it away, so I got to figure out how to place it. We're not laughing.
We're not
at
laughing.
Barbara.
I'm laughing
No.
at how many people are
We're-
here and not giving me an
How
answer.
many? Okay. how do I target placement?
It's not a bad one.
Well, I didn't want.
We've also discussed what happens with a 50 caliber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you remember that discussion?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Carl, it's the top of the hour. Go ahead.
Okay, what I see with the problem. Okay, of course he's got it stuck in his pants. That's not a major issue. I wouldn't do that. I'd have a holster. But pulls it up with his shirt up, standing 12 inches away from a metal target, firing an automatic pistol. You know what ricochets and what hot brass comes out?
Yeah, Chris, he's going to shoot his eye out. That's 100% right.
Exactly.
He is shooting steel plates at point blank range.
And not just one, he had it angled too.
Yeah, he had several plates in front of him that he was shooting. Metal, those rounds, especially if he were using a full metal jacket, are going to ricochet. Hollow points expand on impact. If he's using hollow points, he's a little better off, but that also means shrapnel because it's flowering out. And if it was faulty, it's going to break apart and it can risk taking your eye.
Well, not only that, he had his shirt pulled up. So any hot metal coming off, it would have just seared the skin.
Right.
Right in.
That is an actual tactical training. You're pulling your shirt up to get it out quickly, but at the same time, you should be dropping or pulling your shirt down. And as you're firing, drop, hand back to the firearm.
He almost looked like his hand was caught in the shirt.
It did. So he did it. That's not the biggest problem I had. It was because again, I gave y'all a really good hint if you've been paying attention. We had the 50 BMG that the guy shot out, what was it, 500 yards?
Mm-hmm.
Not where you should be. A 50, you're looking at long range.
Right.
You're practicing 50s at 1,000 yards.
Right.
If you're shooting anything closer than about 600 yards, you should be using paper targets, pumpkins, something that's going to allow the round to continue through it, because a 50 BMG has a lot of force behind it. A lot of power. It's what was it? 32,000? Let me.
Yeah, something way up there.
You're looking at 1,282 feet per second with 2,412 foot-pounds of energy, ranged to 1,300 yards.
Yeah.
1,300 yards right there. That's your statistics right there. So that's is a
3/4 of a mile.
Yeah, that is a massive. No, that's a mile and a quarter.
No.
1,100.
1,763 yards is a mile.
Yeah, so you're looking at a mile and.
You said 1,300, didn't you?
Yeah, so you're a mile and a quarter.
No, 1,760 is a mile. Isn't it? I've been out of school that long.
Oh, you're right. 1760. I thought it was 11760 or something like that. Yeah. So
Old school math,
of,
people. Yeah. Old school math.
Quiet, Carl. So you're looking at 3/4 of a mile for its first range, where it's supposed to be getting used at.
Right.
That's where they're saying that's where you should be sighting in at. So 1,300 yards, you're at 1,300 feet per second. You're doing a foot a second.
Yeah.
So 13 seconds, and that's hitting. Plenty of time for you to move. So metal targets are so fun. They're enjoyable. That metal, I love that plink. I love ting, ting, ting. I love that sound. But anything closer than about 25 yards, depending on the caliber you're using, is too close.
Right. Now, if you're using a pellet gun, 10 yards.
If you're using a pistol, 7 to 10 yards may be okay. Maybe. But I would rather use a rifle on metal plates and get 25 yards or greater away.
Right. But just imagine that close. And you pull it out real quick and bam, 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 bam. Like I said, the bullets, if it's hollow point, mushroom out, ricochet off. Or it mushrooms out. What if one of them little pieces of lead flies off, hits, comes back? You know, just like the
Shrapnel will
Christmas
kill
story.
you.
You shoot your eye out.
Yeah, shrapnel will still kill you because if they don't get all of it, it can get into your bloodstream and destroy your heart.
Mm-hmm.
So shrapnel is no joke. And shrapnel actually does more damage than the bullet itself. Let me see if I can find that photo real quick.
Yeah, that's what Michael said when he heard it. And Barbara said that's what she was trying to say when she first said her answer right there, which we understand.
So this is the round itself breaking through on the left side right here. This is just the round.
Mm-hmm.
This is what shrapnel can do to your body because a round is going at a higher rate of velocity and it is rounded. It is designed to penetrate. Shrapnel breaks open, flails around. It does way more damage. It's also going a lot slower. So instead of cutting through, it is breaking through.
Right.
So
just like when you deer hunt, the bullet goes in. Upon impact, it starts to mushroom out. Little pieces come off. We'll find it here and there inside the deer.
Yeah, that's why we talk about having a safe distance from your metal targets.
Right. And he was no safe distance.
No. He could have reached out and touched that target.
And the worst part, you know what she didn't mention? Who was the idiot standing behind the target that filmed him?
Well, that one I can chalk up to he just set his camera up. That's why I didn't. That's why I didn't cover that. I'm going to hope that
what
was
Alec Baldwin said.
Well, sure. Because that camera was very stable. It wasn't zooming around. It was right on top of him, and it wasn't shaking.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't a person. They would have been moving like crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to chalk that up to being a camera stand.
Yeah.
I can have some hope, okay? Some.
But an idiot films himself doing that. Why would he upload it to YouTube?
He thought he was cool.
Yeah.
The problem I have is what would happen? Look at Kentucky Ballistics. Filmed it alone. No, he had his father with him.
Yeah.
He had
if
his father
wouldn't have been there, he'd been dead.
His father was with there. This guy looked like he was alone.
Yeah.
If he'd have been hit by shrapnel, that video wouldn't be up here for us to make fun of.
No. Now go to the second part of that video.
Oh, you want to go back to the cop again?
Yeah, the cop. What do you see wrong, folks?
All right, let's pull it back up for him.
Yeah.
Go. Where is it? Where's the beginning?
Right there. Jumps back. Bang, bang. Pow. Yeah, he grazed his ass. Okay, folks, what did you see wrong? That one's easy.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, Barbara. I keep seeing all these topics on Alec Baldwin. I'm like, I'm tired of it because I know he's got enough money to make it disappear.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Michael, you're true. What a dumbass that cop was.
He got distracted too easy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a couple of the simple ones. The stance is really, really weak. And for being Policia, yep, his finger's still on the trigger as he's trying to holster.
Yeah, Michael, you got it right. And you're true, Barbara. He went up at flying bullets. He was walking up, but that's how you do on a shooting deal scenario.
And most people, when they go to a range, after they're firing, one of the problems I have with this is when you go to holster, that is your primary focus. Fire, holster, then continue on.
Right.
You're
He
trying
was
to
trying
do
to be
too-
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, you're trying to do too much at once. Your brain is trying to do more than it should because it should be fire. All right, make sure I'm safe. Finger off the trigger. Back in the holster. Continue on.
Right. He had his finger on the trigger and was sitting there. You noticed he cut the top of the belt clip and everything when it went off.
This is just chalked up to complacency. That's the easiest. It's he got way too comfortable, way too happy with his guns, and didn't consider. This is why I really don't like wearing a holster if I'm just going to go plink paper.
Mhm.
If I'm just going out to put a couple rounds down range, I'm not wearing a holster. I see no point.
Right.
Because that takes away that chance that I'm going to try. Whereas if I don't have a holster on, now I'm carrying my gun in a safe manner and placing it back where it needs to go instead of putting it on my body after I've just been shooting, and I can continue on and the next person can go shooting. It's just, it takes away that one extra thing that can cause more problems as you progress.
Right.
So,
And basically all that one there was he was showing off to somebody filming. You know, go up there and boom, 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 and I'm going to throw it down in my holster real quick. No, didn't work out too good.
no. And now he's got he's a little butthurt.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, that's just, don't get me wrong. Guns are fun. I call them toys all the time. Y'all see me call them toys. But yeah, you can ask my dad. When it comes to handling fire, you can ask my dad and my mom. When it comes to handling guns anywhere, I'm very, very strict with how I do things. I don't like setting a gun down after it's had a malfunction.
Mm-hmm.
And range safety officers are super anal. Well, he can't hand you the gun directly. Well, I'd rather see what the problem is because I've had a gun accidentally discharged when you tried to put it down. Let me deal with the problem in a controlled manner. You put it down too hard, boom. Now you got a problem. I don't understand why it's supposed to be handed. As long as I'm coming, of course, still in the truck. If I'm coming, so here's your gun. As long as I'm coming to your hand from the backside and not coming for the barrel, not coming from the front, as long as I'm coming to take from the back around the slide, that's a safe, controlled handoff.
Right.
It's not getting dropped. It's not getting set down. Let me see it. Okay, I can inspect it real quick and make my judgment from there. Let me rack the magazine, get this misfeed out, double feed out, whatever happens, stovepipe, whatever malfunction is happening. If it was a misfire, let's get this round out of here in a controlled manner. Not just let it drop to the ground. Let me find out what's going on before I make the determination of setting this down and possibly exploding in front of us. Whereas if it's controlled, it's going to go out the ejection port or to the front. Whereas if I set it down, who knows what could happen.
Right. And Barbara says it right. The toys are they're toys in the right hands.
They're deadly in the right hands.
Deadly in the wrong ones.
They're deadly in the right hands as well.
Yeah.
But they're harmful. I want to say harmful in the wrong hands is a more accurate description. So be careful, be cautious.
Oh yeah.
And if you're new to shooting, again, you have my Discord. You can go in there all the time, ask me all the questions you want. But I highly encourage you, find a friend that knows what they're doing. Find somebody or hire somebody that has a good review. And if you want me to look at them and see if they'd be worth a damn, I'll do that. But find somebody that can give you the extra push for education, knowledge, and not just, hey, we're going to go shoot turning guns sideways and one-handing things they shouldn't be one-handing. And we've shown what happens with that. So take a little, if you're not comfortable, if you're new to it, take the extra few steps to get there. You can call them toys eventually, but let's start you off the right way. I tell my guys at work, I train you the right way, and then I show you how I do it later. I want you to know, buy the book to start with, so that way you can build your own comfort zone as you progress. Right. Everybody's going to be different. Guns are the same way.
Right. Did you see Kentucky Ballistics' latest video on shooting the 45-70 3.5-inch snub nose?
That thing has a lot of recoil.
Actually, it didn't.
Oh, the video clip I saw was it.
No, he was holding it one-handed out there shooting watermelons with it.
Jesus.
It's only got a barrel that long.
Yeah, it's a 3.25-inch barrel.
Yeah. It didn't have not as much as the 45-70 that had the 7-inch or the 10-inch barrel on it.
I really want a Taurus Taurus Raging Judge Magnum, Smith & Wesson 500, and I kind of want the 45-70 snub nose.
Yeah.
But that's $3,000-$4,000 that I don't have right now. So
right.
Those guns may come at some point in time, but right now it is not happening. I'm so excited next Sunday I can have my son listen in with me. He knows his guns. That's good.
Right. Barbara should be in Kansas City tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. She's coming in.
If I remember right, aren't you flying in on the 1st? If you are, dress warm.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So we've talked about this article before, but apparently Missouri wants to keep pushing this agenda. Noon.
Yep.
So here's what police leaders have to say about Missouri's loosening gun laws. And we've seen with constitutional carry in Texas that the police weren't happy. Let's see what police in Missouri have to say. Despite opposition from police departments in Missouri, 3 largest cities, as well as rural areas, state legislators continue to support looser gun laws. So the cops don't want it either. Once thought to have some of the nation's strongest protections against firearms, Missouri continuously ranks in bottom 5 nationally for lax gun laws. I think y'all are at number 1. They're saying bottom 5. I'm saying y'all are leading the way.
I'd like to know which others are looser.
Yeah, while also suffering from one of the country's highest gun death rates. Faced with high rates of homicides and suicides, police chiefs in Kansas City, St. Louis, and Springfield raised concerns about Missouri's gun laws leading to less safe communities. Members from police unions and organizations have also expressed concerns. Now I'm going to talk about communities real quick. I got a coworker. His neighborhood is very like-minded to me. So they all are very well protected. You know what their community doesn't have? Crime, break-in, theft, nothing. They don't have a damn problem. They don't call the cops either. They just call backhoe and 811.
Right.
So your argument's already getting shut down a little bit there, Hoss. So,
I mean, the bigger cities where your gangs are at, yeah, you're going to have more problems and everything. You get out in the rural communities, we don't hardly have near the problems.
Yeah, it's because you call 811, not 911.
Right.
If you don't know, 811 is the number to call when you have to dig a hole.
Yeah.
Just so everybody else knows.
Dig right.
Yeah. It's disheartening that something so serious as guns have become so politicized instead of focusing on the issue of violent crime and gun violence. Paul Williams, Springfield Police Chief and former president of Missouri Police Chief Association, states, over the past decade, law enforcement officials request for more judicious gun legislation that has been denied by the General Assembly, whose members often tout their support for law enforcement, but vote in direct opposition to what police leaders want. That's because they're voting for the interest of the people.
Right.
The current police chiefs in both Kansas City and Springfield, the two of the three largest cities in the state, as well as the rural Christian County, have all voiced opposition to Missouri's open gun laws. They have asked lawmakers and constituents to reconsider policies that make it easier for criminals to carry firearms and more difficult for law enforcement to regulate their guns in their communities. That's because you're trying to be a police state.
Mm-hmm.
Cops shouldn't need to know that I have a gun. Ever. It's not your problem.
It's not their business.
Well, we need to know if you have a gun for your safety. It's like, hey, man, let me in so I can protect you. Protect you from what? Well, protect you from what I'm going to do if you don't let me in. Same mindset. I can protect myself better than you can protect me. I don't have to worry about where my hands go.
Right.
I hate interacting with cops. With my size, cops are jumpy as shit. That's why I want to train them. If you fear for your life constantly, you're in the wrong ass job. We almost died on patrol, literally. We lost one of our main buses from the reactor. We had no power coming from our reactor, so we had to go to the diesel. We're doing 3 to 5 knots, which, if you don't know, is only like 10 miles an hour. It's nothing. We lost our safety circuit for our diesel, which is not on a protected area. So if we start taking in water from that area, we're flooding. There's nothing we can really do about it. We had to rig everything for black because we were losing power too quickly and we couldn't get the battery charged. Never done it in the 4 years that I've been in the Navy. Have we ever had to do anything like this? Happened during drills of all time, so it was great. So we lost a reactor. We were having problems with our diesel, and we were just floating out in the middle of the ocean, praying to God nothing happened in a hostile area. You know what I did? Did exactly what I had to do. Got off watch, ate, and went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't afraid for my life. How the hell? I had 5 dryer fires on one patrol. We dealt with it. And we stayed out there. Anytime we had a problem, we fixed it. We moved on.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to tell me I feared for my life? I hate that excuse. I feared for my life is something for the people. It's for a stand your ground states. I feared for my life. He continued to approach me with knife, hammer, something. He was threatening me and continued to approach me. I took action and shot him. A police officer's duty is to protect and serve the community. You fearing for your life every single day you go out, get a different job. Because that's what it's a job. It's not like the military. You can quit at any point in time. Go find something else. Go be a firefighter. If you want to be somebody's hero, go to the National Guard, Coast Guard, go somewhere the hell else. But you saying I feared for my life and shooting my dogs is not going to end good for you. So stop using that excuse, grow a set, and do what's right. Just saying. I do support I support the good police, and I know they're few and far between, and the majority of them actually get punished for voicing and doing what's right. But I do support that group because they're going to do what's right. Now, if you're a corrupt cop and you are like the jackass that was planting drugs on every vehicle he pulled over, yeah, tar and feathers are looking pretty reasonably priced right now. But continuing back into our article, I know I keep rambling on other
That's all right. It brings up good points.
KCBPD is doing much to tackle violent crime, yet the violent crime issue persists. In the wake of numerous acts of violence in our city and nationwide, there is something else that must be considered that is beyond the scope of Kansas City and Missouri Police Department. We must ask whether public policy can make a difference in public safety. Doesn't it make sense for those who want to carry guns around people to do so with proper training? I concur.
Yeah.
But you requiring a training to carry a gun is an infringement. Not everybody can afford that. That's why we do this show. We can talk about it. And we can give you as much verbal training as we can. in hopes that we eventually do get an actual ranch to provide proper training in a hands-on, safe environment, not just a discussion.
Right.
Law enforcement officers in Missouri currently have limited tools to prevent violence from occurring by taking guns out of the hands of those who want to do harm to others. It's because you spend all your money on Bearcats and armored vehicles. The police have some really impressive vehicles, and they just sit there the majority of the time because there's no real need. And again, it's it's better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it kind of situation. But it's millions of dollars that could have gone to anything else.
Right.
So you want to bitch about, oh, we don't have the funding, we don't have the tools, the resources. Sell your big ass armored vehicle that you use once a decade,
Mm-hmm.
and go get the crap you need. You don't need more. I'm not saying defund the police. Just make them spend their money smart.
Exactly.
In June of anytime you take a tool from us to do our job and protect the people we serve, well, I'm going to have a huge problem with that. It's just terribly written law. We changed from a very clear, very well written statute on carrying concealed weapons. This is going to create a more violent society. No. Society has always been violent, and saying guns kill people is like saying Cain was a good person. Murder has been around since the dawn of time. We started with rocks. We moved to sticks. We then had sticks and stones. Then we had bows and arrows, slingshots, trebuchets, catapults, spears, phalanx, swords, you name it. People have always been in the business of killing. Will never change.
Right.
It's not going to happen. There's nothing you can do at all unless you just wipe out 99% of society and then tell everybody you don't get any weapons anymore. And then what do you define as a weapon? Because technically a knife is a tool. I want to cut my steak. If you take a knife from me so I can't cut my steak, I'm not eating my steak like it's a cookie unless it's a really good steak, but that's beside the point.
Right.
In June, law enforcement's years-long battle came to an end when Governor Mike Parson approved legislation nullifying federal gun laws. Similar to the 2013 bill, this law declares federal gun laws invalid and presents potential fines for law enforcement agencies who enforce them. As a result, local law enforcement agencies have already begun pulling out a federal task force which rely on local cooperation to solve certain crimes. Great. I see absolutely no problem with that. At all. I wish Texas would do the same crap. That way I could go and buy my suppressor. Parson has often touted his back as a sheriff in support of police as part of his platform, but the legislation led to backlash when law enforcement and even to the resignation of police chief in St. Louis County. Missouri Police Chiefs Association sent a letter to Parson highlighting some of the concerns the bill caused. Excuse me. You should all talk to your city's attorneys and follow his or her guidelines as it pertains to your police department actions. The language has what they call a chilling effect on local law enforcement cooperating with federal authorities. They shouldn't be on gun-related crime. Now, if you had a homicide you're having problems with, murder, mass killing, kidnapping, okay, yes, by all means, give them aid. But if it comes to confiscating firearms, walk away.
Mm-hmm.
That's really simple. Like, we're coming to take their guns away. Nah, you're on your own, Hoss.
No.
We need your help. No, you don't. You need Jesus is what you need because he's the only one that's going to be able to save you from what comes next.
That's right.
In 2016, the Missouri General Assembly passed a bill repealing the permit requirement for concealed carry. The legislation was vetoed by Nixon, but the veto was overridden by the General Assembly by Republicans and became law. The Missouri FOP, as well as the police chiefs in Kansas City, St. Louis, and Springfield, came out against the overriding veto. We must respect individual rights and still defend collective public safety. As a chief of police, my main purpose is to help our officers maintain that balance. And one of the best means I have to do that is by fighting for rational public policy in areas that touch upon crime and criminal justice. This is why I must once again raise my voice against Senate Bill 656, a bill that in Missouri legislature would bring the very opposite of rationality to a situation that is already suffering from a shortage of basic common sense. It's already too easy for lawless people to carry lethal weapons. This bill would make it even easier and the process make things that are much harder for peace officers who work to keep their communities safe. You're fighting your own argument here.
Mm-hmm.
Say you need to not give people guns that criminals are already carrying. They're still going to carry them. Just they're not making it easier for criminals. Criminals are already giving you big FU in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Your argument is invalid as shit right there. Well, it's easier for you to arrest people illegally. It's easier for you to harass people because there is a clause that says if a police officer is unlawfully arresting you, which is technically kidnapping, you can defend yourself up to and including taking that officer's life. You better have damn proving evidence that he was doing this wrong. And it's usually easier and you get a payout if you just sue them. But it's there for your safety.
Right.
I'm not saying go out and shoot anybody.
No.
I'm telling you it is there. But the smarter option is just take it to court.
But that goes to show you, all these police chiefs in these bigger cities, none of them's going to want gun law or guns in their cities for the civilians.
No.
You know, because they know that we can protect ourselves from the criminals.
Yeah. They don't want you doing that.
No.
Proves you don't need cops anymore.
No.
Cops look at the UK. Cops have bright ass vests. They have blue and white cars. They are very easy to point out.
Yeah, retarded.
It's not hard to tell that's a police officer, which is how it should be. Not hidden cars. Not the police we have in America are yes, they do have some purpose behind them. We had a hit and run at work Friday. We had a motorcycle guy was whipping out of the parking lot, went way too quick, hopped the curb, crashed right into this guy's truck. Nice ass truck. Punched a hole through the metal. He hit it so fast. It looked like he T-boned the car in a parking lot. Guy ran. Well, he hung around for a little bit, but then ended up leaving later on. And it took the cops 4 hours to get there. 4 hours. I get it. It's not an emergency, but 4 hours is outrageous to deal with something. He's trying to get a report in. People have lives.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are just here to collect money. If you can't ticket somebody for something, look at every major holiday we have. Halloween. Cops are going to be out in force tonight because of drugs, partying, and alcohol.
Yep.
New Year's, 4th of July, Christmas, Thanksgiving, any huge holiday that has alcohol associated with it, they're out. They pull, you may have had vacation. They're pulling you from whatever the hell you were doing. You're going on the street and you are arresting anybody because it's a paycheck.
Right.
It's more money. Look at speeding tickets. Why do you think there are so many? Why do you think we call them speed traps? The fact that it goes from 55 to 35 is outrageous. Should be 55, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. It should be a general progression down if you're wanting to do that. That takes away the speed trap. It's telling you beforehand. That way, if you get a ticket, you have no excuse. But if you're coming from 55, you hit that 35-mile Brandon, Florida. My truck crapped out its first transmission, and I am driving in a rental car. I have a very heavy foot. That's why I like trucks. The gas pedal is a little more, it fights me a little more. Booking it, it went from 55 to 35, saw the speed limit sign, trying to slow down. Whoop, whoop. I got hit for doing 47 and a 35 as I was braking. Coming into the speed limit area. Why do you think they do that? Because it's money.
Mm-hmm.
So, but back to the article. That just shows you the cops, especially larger cities. That's why you can't. Teachers and police officers should be unbiased.
Exactly.
In uniform, you are here to uphold the law. Whatever is passed for the interest of the people, not your interest. You are not the people. You are a public servant. I want to make that very clear. You are a public servant. You are here to enforce the law, protect the people. The people's voice goes to your legislature.
Right.
If they pass a law, obviously, this is what they determine the people want. So your job is to enforce it. Now, if for some reason it would break the oath to protect the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, then you have to make that judgment call. But trying to give people freedoms and liberties with firearms, First Amendment, any bill or any amendment to the Bill of Rights, then yes, you have to make that judgment call and go, this is against the people's interest. This is against the Constitution. I can't enforce this. But when it comes to trying to give the people their rights and liberties, you can't say, well, it's not safe. It's not for you to make the judgment call on. The people have the right to protect themselves. You're there to clean up the aftermath or do an investigation if shit goes south. Oh, my allergies are acting up again. So you can see why I support some of the blue. So
Right.
I'm not, yeah. Ow. Ooh.
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah.
God. The dog did too.
You know the neighbor's dog. Got Gunny.
Gunny.
I see you want. So we ripped that fence down last New Year's so the dogs could play with each other. I guess Frankie got another dog. This thing looks sickly. I guess he was a rescue. He is skinny. He is skittish. He just walked right the hell into my house. Like, no, this is not your home. Get the hell out. But I guess they were worried with, Pepper and Bruno and Gunny and Bruno. They can all play along. They're very active. They're fine. But this dog is Pepper's probably 3 times its size. It's small. It's
Right.
maybe 20 pounds at the high end.
Ooh.
It's a small dog. So I can understand why they put the fence back up, because they want to try and keep that dog safe. Let him at least recover first, get some meat back on his bones,
Mm-hmm.
realize he's in a good home before they let him introduce. But Gunny has not been enjoying being locked away from Bruno.
Oh.
Oh, Bruno is getting pissed. I went out there the other day and he just kept, dude, I wasn't the one that put the fence back up. No, that was your dad. I argued with this dog for like 20 minutes. Just telling him, no, it wasn't me. Your dad did it. What are you going to do?
True.
Let's see how much time we got. 20 minutes.
Yeah, we got 20 minutes.
Oh, I got to cut some fat here.
Okay.
Let's see. No, we're not going to talk about ghost guns again. I'm so tired of ghost guns. Do we want to dispel another argument talking about how New Jersey seized 13 ghost gun kits from a couple, or
Oh, the New Jersey one.
New Jersey?
Yeah.
All right, so New Jersey seizes 13 ghost gun kits from a couple traveling from Pennsylvania. Police seized more than a dozen handgun kits they said were illegally driven from Pennsylvania into New Jersey, highlighting the spread of ghost gun across state lines amid a spike in shootings. 2 people now face multiple weapons charges, and law enforcement leaders from both states demanded the federal government do more to limit the spread of guns, which can be assembled at home.
Now, for our listeners, explain. You was talking about ghost gun pistols, right?
They said this is ghost gun pistols, but you have to remember this could also be an AR pistol,
Right.
which means it could be just an 80% lower, which Glock is the same way. You can mill out everything at home and
Mhm.
purchase the slide and have the slide barrel and upper assembly shipped to your house.
Right.
So it could be easily an AR pistol, which is just that lower receiver, or it could be a Glock handle that just needs to be milled out, which it's plastic. It's not very hard to do.
Right.
Ghost guns are difficult to trace by design. They do not have serial numbers. We may never know how these weapons might have been used, acting New Jersey Attorney General Andrew Buck states Friday during a press conference at State Police Headquarters in Ewing. But this case highlights again the danger of ghost guns. Firearms seized in the Garden State overall have been traced to Pennsylvania more than any other place. Ghost guns specifically are legal in Pennsylvania, but have been banned in New Jersey since 2018. The two states pledged last year to work more closely when dealing with gun crime. These have become the weapon of choice for criminals, Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro said Friday. Shapiro's office has moved to limit the weapons in his state. So far this year's investigations have already seized 440 ghost guns just in Philadelphia. 3 years ago, they recovered fewer than 24 over the same period. The 23-year-old from Lincoln Park then allegedly drove across the river to a Home Depot in Totowa. He stopped soon after. A search of both his vehicle and his home yielded the kids a sizable amount of ammunition and an AR-style semi-automatic rifle without a serial number, officials state. Pillis was indicted Monday and faces 5 gun charges, including second-degree unlawful possession of assault firearm and third-degree purchasing of firearm parts to manufacture untraceable firearms, according to authorities. His 21-year-old girlfriend, Makina Sweeney of Boonton, was with him on the trip and faces fourth-degree charge for possession of a large-capacity ammunition magazine, officials state. Which one is the Second Amendment?
We are.
We're kind of
You're
talking.
right. You're right to keep and bear arms.
Yeah.
That's the Second Amendment.
Unfortunately, Pennsylvania and New Jersey do not see it that way because they obviously have high-capacity magazine bans. The other thing is damn it, stop. I is from London, bruv. I don't know which one is which. Oh, holy shit, we got another London viewer.
I is from London. Brew, I think. Which one is which?
So the First Amendment is the freedom of speech. The Second Amendment is the right to keep and bear arms.
Right. And if you're from London, we have a very good friend over there that does a show. Should be coming on here before long again. The European 2A.
I haven't heard back from Luke yet.
I've talked to Larson a couple times and he hadn't heard either, but hopefully.
Yep. Well, Larson can still run. Larson's from Sweden, though.
Right.
So, high capacity magazine bans. She's getting charged for owning a magazine, which possession is 9/10 of the law. So, whoever was driving, honestly, should have been the one that was being charged with it. A high capacity assault style weapon. Again, assault is an action, it is a verb.
Mm-hmm.
I could beat you to death with a golf club. That's an assault golf club at that point in time. I could burn you with a lighter. Now it's an assault lighter. There is
that's an assault weapon right there.
that pin. He could throw it at somebody. It's now an assault pin. So there is no such thing as an AR stands for Armalite. It's the original manufacturer of the AR style pistol or rifles. All of them has another main utility though.
All of them explains a right that the citizens of the United States have.
Yeah. Golf clubs, etc. Yeah. They all have another their main purpose.
Yeah, golf clubs is an assault weapon.
But yes, anything you do with that, whatever you have here, I could beat somebody with my microphone. That's now an assault microphone. But no, that's exactly what it is. It's an action. It's what you do with it that makes it that assault style weapon. You shot somebody with it. Now it's an assault gun. You assaulted somebody with it.
Mm-hmm.
Bananas is only assault bananas. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
You got a good sense of humor there, Darius.
Yeah, he does. So they're getting hit. They're getting hit for the AR rifle and the Ghost, and I can't agree as long as they are not manufacturing and distributing. I see no real problem with it. But the issue I have with this is I don't care if you make your guns at home. I would like to make guns at home. I would love to. Be cheaper, but I see no problem with creating a firearm at home. Again, that's your right and liberty. You can you should be able to manufacture guns. If they say you can't, that's an infringement of your Second Amendment right. You have every right and liberty to do whatever you want to with firearms. So I can see manufacturing firearms. Yeah, I can understand wanting to have numbers on them. As long as you're not distributing or selling them to other people, I see no real problem with it. Because that's manufacturing with the intent to distribute or intent to sell. And then, again, that's where a criminal really is going to get a gun. Or they're going to learn how to make it themselves, which we've proved they can before. And we've proved they'll get them either way they want to. So if you do see them with ghost guns, you would have to prove distribution. I could see not liking having ghost guns, but you can't ban them.
No.
But you can say, hey, you're not a licensed dealer. It's not safe. We can't track them. We need, you can make your own guns, but you just can't sell them. It's like moonshine. You can make it, but you can't sell it. You can gift it to other people, though. So that would create another rise of problems because then they're going to set up sting operations and try and get people. And I have been reached out by the police before, and they've tried to buy my guns off of me in a manner that I didn't seem reasonable. Yeah. So I just blocked the shit out of them. And technically, by law, if somebody asks you to buy your firearms, hey, are you a cop? Legally, they have to tell you. Otherwise, it's entrapment. Yes, I blocked. Well, it was a fake account ran by the police. They were trying to buy, or they were trying to sell me suppressors and ammunition at bulk, in bulk. So they're trying to get me to buy something that is regulated without going through the proper channels. So yeah, I blocked them. It was either, it may have been police, it could have been federal.
Yeah, it's entrapment.
It is. It's proving it. That's the problem. Social media, I wasn't us. Unless you can hack and backtrace whoever was trying to do it, there's no real point. So they could just easily delete their account and remove it, and they're done. And it'd be a lot harder to prove that they were the ones doing it. So I just blocked them and moved on.
Right.
That's why so here's a funny little story for you, Darius. Here in America, we have a fuel oil filter for lawn mowers. There's this company that made a suppressor, and it looks like a suppressor, and they're labeling it. Can anyone over 18 or 21 in America get? Yes. As long as you legally live here, yeah. But there is a fuel oil filter they were selling, and it looks exactly like a suppressor. And people are asking, does it come in 223? Does it come in 556? Does it come in calibers? Thinking that, oh, it's the hose connection. That's entrapment because they're trying to get people to buy these. So the ATF can go, hey, you illegally bought this, or we can put you on a list saying that you have bought something illegally and own it. Now we can arrest you, fine you, and throw you in prison and take away your rights to own guns. So we talk about this because that's a really good example of entrapment and a reason why people need to be educated on firearms laws, regulations, control methods, everything like that. And why we discuss this, because there are people out there trying to screw over gun owners. I've had a lot of people add me on my Facebook just for the fact that I have videos and photos of me shooting. Like, oh, you've got guns. No, they're water guns. Well, how much you want for them? I don't want your money. I want you to leave me the hell alone. Well, where do you live? You don't need that information.
Right.
And I promise, if you find out where I live, you better pray to God I'm not home.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was supposed to tell you.
Oh,
We
great.
had one of our waitresses, her husband, come in last night. He's got several guns, right? And I was telling him about the law you have there in Texas on your suppressors.
Yeah.
You're able to purchase them. You got to have a tax deal and all this and that, but it has to be made in Texas.
Yep.
Right. He goes, oh, well, I don't worry about that. I just bought a bunch of these oil filters. And I said, oh, hell no. He goes, well, what's the you? And I went, no, don't you even dare do that. And I told him I was going to tell you. So explain so I can show him on the show when I see him this week why you don't want to use an oil filter as a suppressor.
In Texas, it's up to $100,000 fine and either a Class A misdemeanor, I want to say, or a felony charge. It is now if you bought it under the pretense that it's a fuel oil filter, and it comes in a box that says fuel oil filter.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you don't attach it to your gun, it's going to be harder for them to prove anything beyond that because you bought it under the pretense that is a filter.
Mm-hmm.
Once you attach anything to a gun, and there are people that have taken car fuel filters, put an adapter and threaded them onto their firearms. They do it. It happens all the time. That's when it's illegal because you bought it under the pretense it's a filter.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have modified it to be a suppressor. And without the appropriate tax stamp or law to protect you, and even in Texas, we do have the law that tells us that, yes, we can buy and own Texas-made suppressors without having to go through the ATF. But we don't have the same laws as Missouri, so the ATF is still coming through and arresting and fining and jailing people and
Right.
taking away their gun rights and liberties
Right.
because they own a suppressor without the tax stamp at this point in time.
Well, not only that, why would you want to screw on an oil filter and pull the trigger?
Well, what they do is it's got a large enough bore. They drill a hole bigger than the caliber.
Mm-hmm.
So it reduces the noise greatly. The problem is most of them are fabric or cardboard filters. So too many rounds and you're heating that paper up and it's going to catch fire. But if
Right.
you really want to reduce noise for a little bit, it's great. It works phenomenally, but it's not what it's designed to do. And it's not even legal.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I find very confusing about this gun stuff is that it can't surely be anywhere near the top of your problems over there, or is it something about bigger than that? Actually, it is one of the top problems we have over here in America.
Yeah.
I'm glad you bring that up. We covered back from, I want to say, the 40s where they were starting to push gun laws, and in the past decade, they have passed more gun laws and regulations. My God, they're shooting guns out by me in the echo. Yeah. Stay inside. Get a gun. Don't move. It's a holiday. You should be safe. But Darius, we have guns to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. And if you've watched anything over the election, you've seen that they were cheating on the election. They've been trying. And the only reason, I love to say this, and I hate to say it at the same time, the only reason they try and ban or take away anything from you in America or any country is because they're about to do something that's going to make you want to utilize what they're taking away from you.
Right.
So we have this large problem with a lot of politicians being corrupt, a government that's trying to pass a $2.4 trillion bill, which is going to raise taxes and food prices and gas prices on everything to the point in time where normal people will not be able to survive anymore beyond hunters and gatherers that have the property. And if this passes, I'll be fleeing the state and going up to Missouri and starting a farm in the middle of a cave and not having my phone or any way to track me because I can't pay my bills anymore. So yes, we have guns for reasons. And we also have a very, very bad border problem right now where couple weeks ago, we actually had cartel hitmen coming into America and assassinating American citizens. What was it, 60 miles within the border?
80
miles within the border. So the guns are there to protect us from anything in all reality. whether it be protect us from going hungry or protecting us from a home intruder. They are designed to be a tool utilized for whatever you need them to be utilized for. And with the current trends on everything going on in America, gun sales have doubled over the past year, and it looks like they're about going to be about the same height as they were last year. So we went from $3.6 million guns sold in America to 5.3 from 2019 to 2020 or 20 to 21. And it's looking like we're going to be having that same trend again this year, where we're holding up in the 5 million gun sales over the past year. So it's almost doubled from what it was in 2018, 2019, and it has stayed this way. Quite a few of us.
Oh, everybody that's on this network, I can guarantee that, and everybody in the chat room will agree the election was rigged. There's no doubt it's been proved several times.
And unfortunately, the Supreme Court justice that Trump put in place got bought out very quickly and refused to take the case. Texas got shut down and couldn't sue. I want to say it was Pennsylvania for voter fraud. They have several states that have claimed they have found voter fraud, but no actions have become of it yet. And there's a lot of people, well, if they prove voter fraud, they're just going to remove Biden from office.
No, they had to remove both of them.
Yeah, the Democrats cheated. You have to remove the whole party from office.
Right.
They would no longer. Well, they'll keep. No, they shouldn't, because your party is the ones that cheated.
Mm-hmm.
This was not the act of one man. One man is not going to get 128,000 votes for himself overnight.
No.
So there is a small majority of Americans that believe Wisconsin just proved big voter fraud. There was another state that was looking into voter fraud, and they deleted the results, which is illegal. They have to maintain the results for a minimum of 2 years.
3.
It's 2 or 3.
Yeah, one of the two.
Last I heard for that state, it was 2 years.
Oh.
But they deleted them before they were archived. Doesn't matter if they were election results or votes, you have to maintain them. So right there, that's voter fraud because you deleted evidence. So there's more and more building constantly.
That was Arizona, they backed it up.
Which I think is another reason why they're trying to impeach Joe Biden. They've been talking, but there was an article that showed up that they've been trying to impeach Joe Biden since January. So this whole year, they've been looking to impeach him.
Oh, there's been incitements for impeachment on Biden. I don't know how many of them have been in there, but they keep getting dropped.
He's a scapegoat.
Yeah.
It's a magic trick. It's like we always focus over here so you don't see what's going on in this hand. Like I read something about his son giving a gun to a kid or something. Oh, Jesus. That meth head gave a kid a gun.
Oh, yeah. Remember, he's a felon and he got to purchase a gun. Remember that?
No.
Yeah. He walked right in, filled the paperwork out, everything, purchased a gun in Washington, D.C.
One of the most strict gun law states we have in America.
Yeah.
Darius, if you want an interesting fact for you today, Americans own 46 to 48% of the firearms in the world that are documented. And many states we have here are unregulated, so there is no need to document them. Where was I going with this?
Every American, the average equals out to, what is it?
125.
1.26 guns for every American.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was I going on?
And that's men, women, and children.
Yep.
So why is he not allowed a gun? Sorry.
You can't
He's
be
a felon.
You can't be a felon and own a firearm.
No.
Oh, that's where I was going. If you remove Washington, New York, and Chicago from the 50 states, we go from being number 1 in gun violence crime in the world to like number 56.
Right.
3 states in America are holding us
3
at the
cities.
number 1 spot in the world.
Right.
That's how bad, and that should go to show people that the more gun regulation you have, the more crimes are going to be committed because felons don't listen to the law in the first place.
Right.
And you should understand, coming from the UK, we actually did a show 8 months ago, a long time ago.
Darius, speeding ticket is not a felony charge over here. Usually 99.9% of the time it's not.
Yeah, unless you're doing like 100 and a 35, that's a
Right.
reckless endangerment.
Right.
Speed 10, 15 over is just a speeding ticket,
Right.
whereas 20, 25 is a super speeder. You get your car
Right.
impounded, it doesn't make you a felon.
But if you don't pay your child support, that is a felony.
Yep.
And you can't own a gun. So there's a lot of different things over here, but most of us gun owners, we know what's going on and we own our guns.
And you should understand that just taking away the weapons does not mean that crimes are going to stop.
Right. For
We did
example, London.
Yeah, we did a show where we talked about the crimes that y'all have going on. Whereas y'all have banned the majority of firearms, you still have gun crimes, still have stabbings. You have your majority of crimes, I want to say, was from blunt objects, be it a hammer, fist, something like that. You have a spike in acid attacks.
Yeah, Luke was telling us all about that.
So you just because your country has banned certain.
Yeah, they have mad
tools.
stabbings over there. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
So just because the guns is mainly in Nottingham and the countryside.
Yeah. They use them for hunting.
Yeah. But just because they have banned them does not mean that crimes are still not happening with them.
Mm-mm.
Now, y'all are having crimes with hear ye kind of guns from the 17 and 1800s because they were a family heirloom.
Oh, they have rural drug gangs.
Yeah, I can see that. So
I can too.
you also have a crap ton of Muslim immigrants coming in, as well as Germany and France,
Mhm.
which has caused a giant spike in rapes. So yeah, this is why we say guns are good. And I saw a video that had the same mindset I had. These women are buying these cute little self-defense tools, right? Matches their purse, matches their nails, pepper spray, little spikes, a knife that's no bigger than my big toe. Just these, like a toothpick.
Right.
They're tiny. I'd have a better chance of just beating somebody with my bare hands than using this damn thing. Because
Right.
odds are I'm going to try and grab it and break it, or it's going to go into me because I handled it wrong.
Mhm.
And there's this woman that pops up, just buy a gun. This is not going to save you. You know what will save you? A gun.
Right.
Yeah, especially in a state that has stand your ground laws.
It has an assault toothpick in it. Oh, folks. Boy, we've had some great conversation in the comments today.
Oh, before I forget, Darius, I know y'all have problems with Facebook. Where's my mouse? There it is. I'm going to go ahead and post our Discord link. So if you ever have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you'd like to know, you can get a hold of myself or Carl or anybody
Right.
in the Discord directly, or just message there and you can interact and find out the gun laws. And if you're ever interested to come on to the show, we post the show's link in there, and you're more than welcome to join us at any point in time and ask whatever questions you want to ask.
Right.
All
And
we
if
ask
you-
is stay respectful,
Mhm.
discussions, not arguments.
And if you don't want to come on the video part of the show, we can have you come on like this. You can still hear me, but you can't see me. So I could sit here and talk about anything we wanted to talk about.
Yeah. So you don't have to show who you are if that's a concern, but you're more than welcome to join us at any point in
Right.
time. And it's our show is now every Sunday at noon Central Time. We're actually coming up to the end of it right now.
Yep.
So 2 hours ago is when you could be here. We do have to warn you, though, we are looking at getting away from Twitch because they do not like us having music rights.
Right.
So if you want to continue watching, you're going to have to find our YouTube, Discord, Facebook, any one of those. And
As soon as I can find out that they can really watch it good on Discord and chat from Discord, that's where mainly we're all going to be at.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Chad. We changed it around so we could have more time Sunday evenings to get things done.
Yeah, I wanted to stop doing the show and going straight to bed. I wanted to have some time. I've still got to give Pepper a bath. I've got to start laundry up and look at food at some point in time, which, Carl, I made those hot dog and bacon things yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I used jalapeno bacon.
Pretty damn good, ain't it?
So,
See, I showed you something that I knew you would love. And it's quick and easy.
oh, it was. Everything's in the skillet. Cook up the bacon, cook the hot dogs in the bacon grease. Good to go. Yeah, Darius.
And put the syrup on top of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Toasted
yeah.
bread. I should have toasted both sides because I didn't have hot dog buns.
Right.
But it was good.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal.
But other than that, Carl, I don't have anything else to add, really.
Right.
Unless we want to try and call the NRA real quick and see what they say.
On Halloween on a Sunday, they ain't going to say crap.
No, I don't give a crap about the World Series.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, we could try and call the NRA real quick and see if they can get us a lawyer.
Yeah, I still haven't heard nothing back from them.
Neither have I.
They're not real picky, so anyway. But folks, join us every Sunday now at 12 p.m. Central Time, right at noon. We'll be right here live. You can find us on Second Amendment Ranch Facebook page. You can find us on the Bill of Rights Network Facebook page.
And YouTube's.
And YouTube's. So check that out.
By the way, you can't do likes or hearts anymore.
Who can?
Barbara said she can't.
Huh.
We're getting attacked again.
Yeah, they're wanting us bad.
Yep. But we look forward to seeing you again, same time, same place next week. Again, noon. Be sure to check out every other show, the Bill of Rights Network, or People's Voice with Voraciously Vincent.
It's now called Vincent's Voice.
Vincent's Voice with Vincent. HTX Renegade Radio with TDC and Simple Man. Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal with myself, Carl, and Denise Pridemore. It's hard to keep track if we lost.
That's it right now.
Okay, so we've dropped down to a little bit. But be sure to check out everybody else here on the Bill of Rights Network. And hopefully we'll have the UK 2A back at some point in time soon. As always, I'm Cameron.
And I'm Carl.
And this is the Second Amendment Ranch. Y'all have a good night.